बोलिए श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय। बोलिए श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय। Jai Jai Sitaram. Cordial welcome to everyone who's joining with us this evening as we observe the auspicious occasion of Shri Ganesh Chaturthi. So those who are here with us in the mandir and those who are joining us online, those who are performing puja, please take a flower in your hand if you do have. We all clasp our hands, we close our eyes, we bow our heads, we focus our minds at the feet of Lord Ganesha as we do our invocation prarthana. Hare Om Shri Ganeshaye Namah Shri Saraswatyaye Namah Shri Guru Charana Kamale Bhyo Namo Namah. Om Swasti na Indro Bridashrava Swasti na Pushah Vishwavedah Swasti na Stakshurishtanemi Swasti no Brihaspate Dadhatu. Om Sham no Mitra Sham Varuna Sham no Bhavatu Aryamam Sham no Indro Brihaspati Sham no Vishnu Rurukramam. Namo Brahmane Namaste Vaya Tvamev Pratyaksham Brahmasi Tvamev Pratyaksham Brahma Varishyami Ritam Varishyami Satyam Varishyami. Tanmam avatu tarabhaktaram avatu avatu mam avatu bhaktaram. Om dhyo shantehi antarikshagam shantehi prithvihi shantehi apah shantehi oshadai shantehi vanaspatay shantehi vishvidevah shantehi brahma shantehi Sarvagam Shanti Shantireva Shanti Sama Shanti Redhi. Those who are performing puja, please chant your Rashi names in your mind. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Om Vishnur Vishnur Vishnu Namah Paramatmane Shri Purana Purushottam Adya Shri Brahmano Nidvitya Pararhi Shvishvet Varaha Kalpe Vaivasvat Manvantarim Ashta Vinashati Tame Kalyuge Kali Pratham Charane Bhuloke Jambu Dvipe Kanada Varshis Kabro Grami Baudhavatari Shubha Masi Shubha Pakshi Shubha Tithi Amukanamasya Mukha Gotramanamaham Daihika Daivika Bhautika Taptrayati Shri Gajanan Swami Shri Panch Mahadevata Havan Pujanam Shankalpam Karishye. Offer a flower. We do Pavitra purification. Sprinkle the water around the altar 3 times. Om Apavitra Pavitrova Sarvavasthangato apiva Yashmarit Pundarikaksha Sabahyabhya Antaram Suchi. Om Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu Shri Vishnu. We prostrate to Mother Earth. We bow to our altar 3 times. Om Shama Shvame Padasparsham Shama Shile Parat Pare Ram Krishna Dikanantvam Mata Pratave Namastute. We bow to the ground, we take our seats. Om Pratave Tvayadrita Loka Devi Tvam Vishnunadrita Tvam Chadharya Mam Nityam Pavitram Kuruchasanam iti Asanam Samarpayam. Prem se asan lijiye. Please have your seats. So at this time, devotees, we prepare ourselves to engage the presence and the blessings of Panch Mahadevta, of course, beginning with Lord Ganesha on this most auspicious day of Shri Ganesh Chaturthi. If you do have flowers, take a flower in your hand, contemplate, meditate upon Lord Ganesha as we seek his blessings today. Hari Om Kharvam Sthulatanam Gajendra Vadanam Lambodaram Sundaram Prasyandan Madugandalubda Madupavya Gandasthalam Dantaghata Vidaditarirudhire Sindura Shubhakaram Vande Shailasudasutam Ganapatim Siddhim Pradam Kamaram Om Vigneshwaraya Varadaya Surpriyaya Lambodharaya Sakalaya Jagarhitaya Nagananaya Shruti Yagya Vibhushitaya Gauri Sutaya Gananata Namo Namaste Om Ekadantaya Vidamahi Vakratundaya Dhimahi Tanno Danti Prachodayat Om Ganganapataye Namaha Om Ganganapataye Namaha Om Ganganapataye Namaha Boli Shri Gajanan Swami Ki Jai. Right. We seek the presence and the blessings of our Universal Mother, the form of Adi Shakti, Durga Mata. Om Sarva Mangala Mangalye Shive Sarvarth Sadhike Sharanye Trayambike Gauri Narayani Namostute Bhadrakali Namo Nityam Sarve Shakti Swarupini Jagatstite Jaganmata Narayani Namostute Om Dum Durgaya Namaha Om Dum Durgaya Namaha Om Dum Durgaya Namaha. Boliye Shri Adi Shakti Durga Mata Ki Jai. We contemplate, meditate upon that most auspicious and beautiful form of Shiv Shankar Bhagwan. Om Tat Purushaya Vidamahi Mahadevaya Dhimahi Tanno Rudra Prachodayat Karpura Gauram Karunavataram Sansara Saram Bhujagendraharam Saravasantam Hridayarvinde Bhavam Bhavani Sahitam Namami Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya Om Namah Shivaya. Boliye Shri Mahapati Mahadeva Ki Jai. So what? We contemplate, meditate upon Surya Narayana Swami. Om Bhaskaraya Vidamahi Divakaraya Dhimahi Tanna Surya प्रचोदयात्। ॐ आदिदेव नमस्तुभ्यं प्रसीदा मम भास्कर। दिवाकर नमस्तुभ्यं प्रभाकर नमोस्तुते। ॐ सूर्याय नमः। ॐ सूर्याय नमः। ॐ सूर्याय नमः। बोलिए श्री सूर्य नारायण स्वामी के जय। We now seek the presence and blessings of Mahavishnu Bhagwan. Om Shantakaram Bhojagshayinam Padmanabham Suresham Vishwararam Gagan Sadrisham Meghavarnam Shubhangam Lakshmikantam Kamalnayanam Yogibhirdhyanagam Vande Vishnu Bhavabhayharanam Sarvalokaikanaatham. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. Om Namo Narayanaya. बोलो महाविष्णु भगवान के जय। So at this time, devotees will engage in making offerings to Lord Ganesha. So those who are performing puja at home, please join us in the offerings. Firstly, we'll offer water to Lord Ganesh. Hari Om Gangeshaya Mune Chaiva Godavari Saraswati Narmade Sindhu Kaveri Jalyasmin Sanidim Kurum Shri Gajanan Swami Argyam Padyam Snanam Samarpayami. We offer Chandan. Remember, 3 lines across his forehead. Om Shri Khanda Chandanam Divyam Gandadhyo Samanuharam Vilepanam Surshreshtang Shri Gajanan Swami Chandanang Samarpayami. We offer flower. Om Malyadini Sugandhini Malyatadi Nivai Prabhu Mai Hritani Pujartam Pushpani Pratigriyatam. We offer Gandha essence. Om Gandham Grihani Devesh Deva Deva Dayanidhi Tvameva Jagatam Natistva Tvameva Jagatam Prabhu. We offer deep light arti. Om Sajam Chavarti Sanyuktam Vahanina Yojitam Maya Deepam Grihan Devesh Trailokyam Timirapaham. बोली श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय। There's a mala here. Lord Ganesh. Om Malyadini Sugandhini Malyatadini Vai Prabhu Maya Hritani Pujartam Pushpani Pratigriyatam Shri Gajanan Swami Pushpamala Samarpayami. you prepared Naivedya, you can hold it in your hands at this time. Firstly, passing the water around it 3 times. Om Mandakinyastu Yadavari Sarva Papaharam Shubham Tariram Kalapitam Devam Samyagya Achpanyatvam Tvaya. We all pray in our own words now to Lord Ganesha on this very auspicious occasion of Shri Ganesh Chaturthi. We humbly ask him to accept our Naivedya and to shower his blessings upon us. Harihi Om Grittatvan Havishainam Payusham Visharatara Nan Vidhan Naivedyam Shri Gajanan Swami Naivedyam Samarpayami. Om Tvadyam Vastu Govindam Tubhyameva Samarpriyet Grihan Sanmukta Bhuktava Prasida Purushottamam. बोलिए श्री गजानन स्वामी के जय. Touch by your murti and touch to your heads. Say Shri Krishna Arpanam. If you have flowers, bay leaf in your prasad, you can offer it to Lord Ganesha while chanting Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. Om Gang Ganapataye Namaha. You offer water to Lord Ganesh. Om Sarva Papaharam Devam Gangeyam Nirmalam Jalam Achmanyam Chamaya Dattam Grihan Parameshwaram Shri Gajanan Swami Achmanyam Samarpayami. If you prepare the dakshina to offer to Lord Ganesha, you can offer it at this time. Om Natapal Supal Maulavi Vanditangri Yugala Prabhu Hari Dakshinang Pradeshri Gajanan Swami Danam Dakshinaye Samarpayami. Boliye Shri Gajanan Swami ke Jai. So at this time, devotees, there are some devotees who are here at the mandir who would like to make offerings. So while this is in progress, we'll engage in a couple of kirtan and bhajans.
गजानना हे शुभानना गजानना हे शुभानना गजानना हे शुभानना गजानना हे शुभानना गौरी मनोहर प्रिय नंदना शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे तू स्वर की देवी संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा हर गीत तुझसे। तू स्वर की देवी संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा है हर गीत तुझसे। हम हैं अकेले, हम हैं अधूरे, तेरी शरण हम हमें प्यार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मुनियों नि समझे, गुनियों नि जाने, वेदों की भाषा पुराणों में बानी। मुनियों नि समझे, गुनियों नि जानी, वेदों की भाषा पुराणों की बानी। हम भी तू समझे, हम भी तू जाने, विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे तू श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे, हाथों में वीणा मुकुट सर पे साजे। तू श्वेत वर्णी कमल पे विराजे, हाथों में वीणा मुकुट सर पे साजे। मन से हमारे मिटारे अंधेरे, हमको जानो का संसार दे माँ। हे शारदे माँ, हे शारदे माँ, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे माँ। हे
शङ्कर सुवन भवानी नन्दन शङ्कर सुवन भवानी नन्दन गणपति जगवन्दन गणपति जगवन्दन निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण निषिदिं नमो
गणपति चरण
गणपति चरण जगदुख हरण
गणपति चरण जगदुख हरण
निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण
निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण
संताप सब मन के हरे मंगल सदा गणपति करे संताप सब मन के हरे मंगल सदा गणपति करे मन कर स्मरण निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण
निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण
बल बुद्धि तुम देवता भव भक्ति हृदय सेवता बल बुद्धि तुम देवता हर भक्ति हृदय सेवता शंकर सुवन शंकर सुवन तारण करण निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण
निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण
तुम ही कृपा बेअंत है तीनों की तू दयावंत है तुम ही कृपा बेअंत है तीनों की तू दयावंत है हम आ गए तेरी शरण हम आ गए तेरी शरण निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण
निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण
गणपति चरण जगदुख हरण गणपति चरण जगदुख हरण निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण निषिदिं नमो गणपति चरण
Shri Gajanan Swami ki Jai. So at this time, devotees, we will be engaging in our mantra japa havan. So those who are performing havan with us, please sit before your havan kund at this time. And as we prepare to invite Agni Devta, we'll chant this mantra, during which time we will ignite the fire, inviting Agni Devta to receive our offerings today. Hari Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha Om Bhur Bhuvasvaha धयुरिवा भूम्ना पृथिवी वावरिं न तस्य अस्ति पृथिवी देवाय जनिं पृष्टियग्निं मनादमनादयादरे बोलिए श्री अग्नि देवता की जय. Pass the water 3 times around. Harihi Om Mandakinyastu Yadvari Sarvapapaharam Shubham Tariram Kalapitam Devam Samyagya Achmanyatvam Tvayayitihi Achmanyam Samarpayami. We begin making our offerings now at the recitation of Swaha. We offer small amounts while reciting Swaha as well. Harihi Om Shri Ganesh Devtabhyo Namah Swaha. Om Ganganapataye Namah Swaha. Om Ganganapataye Namah Swaha. Om Shri Gauri Mataye Namah Swaha. Om Shri Shankar Bhagavan Bhyo Namah Swaha. Om Shri Agni Devtabhyo Namah Swaha. Om Shri Mahalakshmi Mataye Namah Swaha. Om Shri Mahavishnu Bhagavan Bhyo Namah Swaha. Om Namo Narayanaye Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Surya Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Chandra Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Mangal Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Buddha Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Brihaspati Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Shukra Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Shani Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Rahu Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Ketu Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Om Shri Pranaya Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Apanaya Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Samanaya Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Indriyaya Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Udanikaya Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Ishta Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Kul Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Sthan Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Gram Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Mata Pita Charan Kamle Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Shantiko Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Panchpal Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Das Dikpal Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. Om Shri Adi Shakti Durga Mataye Namah Swaha. Shri Rundhati Devi Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Bhadrakali Devi Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Santoshini Devi Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Rudrani Devi Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Brahmani Devi Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Parameshwari Devi Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Ambike Devi Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Chandike Devi Bhyo Namah Swaha. Om Aim Saraswati Mataye Namah Swaha. Shri Ramchandra Bhagavan Bhyo Namah Swaha. Shri Krishna Bhagavan Bhyo Namah Swaha. Om Shri Hanmate Devta Bhyo Namah Swaha. We all join together as we chant Brahm Gayatri Mantra. Om Bhurabhuvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yonah Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhurabhuvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yonah Prachodayat Swaha. Om Bhurabhuvasvaha Tatsavitur Varenyam Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi Dhyo Yonah Prachodayat Swaha. Mahamrityunjay Mantra. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushte Vardhanam Urvarukam Vandanam Mrityur Mukshemamritat Swaha. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushte Vardhanam Urvarukam Vandanam Mrityur Mukshemamritat Swaha. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushti Vardhanam Urvarukam Vandanam Mrityur Mukshemamritat Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Swaha. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Swaha. We chant the 12 auspicious names of Lord Ganesha, 3 repetitions each. Om Vakratundaya Namaha Swaha. Om Vakratundaya Namaha Swaha. Om Vakratundaya Namaha Swaha. Om Ekadantaya Namaha Swaha. Om Ekadantaya Namaha Swaha. Om Ekadantaya Namaha Swaha. Om Krishna Pingakshaya Namaha Swaha. Om Krishna Pingakshaya Namaha Swaha. Om Krishna Pingakshaya Namaha Swaha. Om Gajavaktraya Namaha Swaha. Om Gajavaktraya Namaha Swaha. Om Gajavaktraya Namaha Swaha. Om Lambodaram Namaha Swaha. Om Lambodaram Namaha Swaha. Om Lambodaram Namaha Swaha. Om Vikatmevaya Namaha Swaha. Om Vikatmevaya Namaha Swaha. Om Vikatmevaya Namaha Swaha. Om Vignarajendraya Namaha Swaha. Om Vignarajendraya Namaha Swaha. Om Vignarajendraya Namaha Swaha. Om Dhumravaranam Namaha Swaha. Om Dhumravaranam Namaha Swaha. Om Dhumravaranam Namaha Swaha. Om Bhalachandram Namaha Swaha. Om Bhalachandram Namaha Swaha. Om Bhalachandram Namaha Swaha. Om Vinayakam Namaha Swaha. Om Vinayakam Namaha Swaha. Om Vinayakam Namaha Swaha. Om Ganapati Namaha Swaha. Om Ganapati Namaha Swaha. Om Ganapati Namaha Swaha. Om Gajananam Namaha Swaha. Om Gajananam Namaha Swaha. Om Gajananam Namaha Swaha. Om Shri Sarva Devata Devyo Bhyo Namaha Swaha. Om Shri Sarva Devata Devyo Bhyo Namaha Swaha. Om Shri Sarva Devata Devyo Bhyo Namaha Swaha. Final offering. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnam Udachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Sarvam Vai Purnagvam Swaha. Boliye Shri Gajanan Swami ke Jai. Pass the water around the fire. Om Sarva Papaharam Devam Gangeyam Nirmalam Jalam Achmanyam Chamaya Dattam Grihana Parameshwaram Shri Agni Devata Achmanyam Samarpayami. Boliye Shri Satya Sanatan Dharma ki Jai. So at this time, devotees, we'll prepare for a small discourse this evening. While I'm getting prepared, where's Vandana? We'll do a short kirtan while we get prepared for discourse. बोलिए श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय, सत्य सनातन धर्म की जय. Once more, devotees, a very warm and cordial welcome to all of you who are joining with us here in person as well as online, virtually. And today we continue our katha from the pages of the Sri Ganesh Ji Puran, where we are listening to that interaction between Lord Shiva and the Putra, the son that Parvati Mata created. And we heard about that great battle that took place between Lord Shiva and this young child, and eventually how Lord Shiva took the head off. He cut the head of this child, and that head flew very, very far away, never to be found. And we discussed the importance of this. Not the literal importance, but what does it mean philosophically for us? Is that when Lord Shiva comes into our lives, he helps us to remove that. The head stands for ego. Ravan is said to be the incarnation of pride and ego. And he's called the Shanan. 10 heads. And it said that he offered these heads, he offered a head to Lord Shiva in tapasya, in devotion to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva continued to bless him that when one head is removed, another head will take its place. And this also is very important for us to understand, that we try and we make efforts to remove pride and remove ego from our lives, but what happens? Remove it, it comes back. Remove it, it comes back. So when Lord Shiva removed the head of this young child, the ego, the abhiman of this child, it went very far away, never to be found again. So when we gain the grace and blessings of Lord Shiva, and we invite Lord Shiva to take our ego, to take that pride from us, when it goes, it doesn't come back. It doesn't come back. Why did Ravan one come back? Because he was praying with an aim. He was praying with a goal. He wanted something from Lord Shiva. He wasn't praying just because he wanted to offer devotion, he wanted to offer prayer, he wanted to offer tapasya to Lord Shiva. No, he was praying because he wanted Lord Shiva to give him something. So again, this is called, what type of devotion this is called? Rajasic devotion. So we have sattvic devotion, which devotion is performed in the most pure way. Again, 3 gunas. Most pure way, most selfless way. Then we have Rajasic devotion, a devotion that is performed with some aim or goal in mind, some benefit. We want this in return. And then there's Tamasic devotion. Tamasic devotion, when people perform devotion to do wrong things, to engage wrong type of results to come to someone else, or to gain some kind of, what we call occult powers, or negative powers. This is called tamasic devotion. And they all have their repercussions. The sattvic one is the one that doesn't have any sort of negative repercussions for us, because that is the one that uplifts us spiritually. The more we uplift ourselves spiritually, the easier our life becomes. And this is something that we should really pay attention to. The more that we uplift ourselves spiritually, the easier our life becomes. The struggle becomes less. The daily struggle that we undergo, the daily problems that we undergo will become less and less and less the more that we uplift spiritually. As such, we always encourage and ask devotees to do those things that will cause you to uplift spiritually. So, after this child was destroyed, and Parvati Mata came out and she saw headless body of her child. Then she told Lord Shiva, Bhagwan, Prabhu, he's our son. He's our child. Please bring him back to life. Do what you can. Bring him back to life. Lord Shiva say, Parvati, how come? How come he's our son? And devotees, that's where we left off last time. And when Lord Shiva asked Parvati Mata this question, right? When he asked this question, let us hear the response of Parvati Mata in Doha. Shambhu bachan suni Parvati jodi pani shiranai jehi vidhi upajo balvar sakal kahi samujhai. बोलिए श्री गजानन स्वामी के जय. Now, if we look at this from a very materialistic point of view, if a husband has been away from a wife for some time, which they were separated, right? Remember what happened? They had a little disagreement. Lord Shiva went into meditation, he sent Parvati Mata away. She went also perform meditation. We look at this from a material point of view. Now, Lord Shiva comes. Parvati says, he's our son. Did he become angry? He asked in a very nice way, how come? How come you got a son? Because he understood their possibilities. The possibilities. And then, when Parvati Mata heard these words, she bowed her head. Jodi pani shiranai. She clasped her hands like this and she bowed her head before Lord Shiva. And she said, Jehi bidhi upajo balvara. Sakala kahi samujhai. She made him to understand. And she expressed the entire scenario, what happened. The whole sequence of events that happened, that caused this child to come into being. How she created him for her protection and so on. And devotees, Lord Shiva, he sat down and he listened. And when he listened, devotees, after hearing what Parvati Mata said, let us hear what happened further. Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh, Jai Ganesh Deva. माता जाके पार्वती पिता महादेवा. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा.
माता जाके पार्वती पिता महादेवा.
सुनी शंकर बोले मृदुवाणी बिना माथ किमी जय भवानी. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा.
माता जाके पार्वती पिता महादेवा.
क्रोधित लाकी त्रिशूल प्रचंडा उदिगा माथ परा ब्रह्मंदा. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा. माता जाके पार्वती पिता महादेवा. जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश देवा. माता जाके पार्वती
पिता महादेवा.
माता जाके पार्वती पिता महादेवा. माता जाके पार्वती
पिता महादेवा.
सुनी शंकर बोले मृदुवाणी. After listening, Lord Shiva started to reply in a very tender way, in a very gentle way. Devotees, we cannot stress enough to married couples, those who are in the grihasti stage of life, that's very important how we approach each other, how we speak to each other. Otherwise, what happens? What happens? What is the common thing today in the world? When you approach somebody with anger, how do you respond? With anger, not so? Isn't that common? If somebody approach you in an angry way, doesn't that, tug at something in you and cause you also to start to become angry and want to respond in that way as well? So it's important how we relate to each other, how we speak to each other, because that will determine the quality of the relationship that we have. As we understand, devotees, time is short. Do we want to spend a lot of time being angry with each other and not talking and so on? Do we want to have this kind of relationship, or do we want to have a better relationship? We want to have a better relationship. It starts with how we communicate, how we speak. Bole Muriduvani. Lord Shiva spoke in a very gentle and tender way to Parvati Mata. And he said, Bina mat kimi jay bhavani. He says, how can a child live without a head, O Parvati? How can a child live without a head? Now again, this is in the Katha. This is what we hear that has happened literally, but the meaning for us is how can we live without the faculty of thinking, the faculty of intelligence. How can we live? Is that any kind of life? If we just go through the motions of life without actually thinking about what we are doing? No. We are simply existing. He says, Krodhita lagi trishula prachanda. That the trident was, hurled with such anger. With such anger, that I had. I hurled that trident with such force. Urigamat parabrahmanda. That the head flew beyond this universe. That head will never be found. Will never be found. And devotees, when Lord Shiva said these words to Parvati Mata, let us hear what happened. Bole Uma suno mamvani. Bole Uma suno mamvani. Kripa sindhur antargyani. Bolo Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva. Bolo
Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva.
Ajo ko bhayo tanayo jah hoye. Ajo ko bhayo tanaya jah hoye. Mata piti de kar soye. Bolo Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva. Bolo Jai Ganesh Deva.
Jai Ganesh Deva.
Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva.
Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva.
Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva. Jai Ganesh Deva.
जय गणेश देवा
When Lord Shiva said this to Parvati Mata, Boli Uma Suno Mamavani, then Parvati said, Kripa Sindhu Ur Antar Gyani. That, O ocean of kindness, O ocean of mercy, O omniscient one, O one who knows all. He says, please listen to my words. Please listen to my words, Parvati Mata is saying. आज को भयो तनया जह होई माता पीथी दय कर सोई. Listen to this very carefully. What Parvati Mata said to Lord Shiva. To find a child that is recently born, find a child that is recently born, whose mother is sleeping with their back towards that child. Boliye Shri Gajanan Swami ki Jai. So what are we understanding here? What are we understanding? That mothers, their dedication, their devotion, their responsibility to their child is of utmost importance. And we do see this. We do see this. In many cases, they are very, very dedicated mothers, devout mothers, who dedicate their time and their energy towards raising a child. And then there are cases where there's gross neglect. Yesterday, Surupta, I think she learned in school about a child that was locked in a room for 13 years. 13 years? So what do we call this? That's utmost cruelty. So when we listen to this katha, and we listen to what Parvati Mata is saying to Lord Shiva, is that when we have a child, when we are blessed with a child, it's our the responsibility for us is to make sure that we take care of that child in the best way that we can. That we do not turn our back upon that child. We do whatever we have to do, as much as we can, for that child. Now when the child gets big, it's a different case. When a child gets big, and child becomes an adult, now they take care of themselves. But when they are dependent upon the parents, now that is the time that the parents has to be very dedicated. They have to dedicate themselves towards that responsibility very, very greatly. So here Parvati Mata is saying, to find a child that is born today whose mother is sleeping with her back to that child. And then what she says further, we'll hear in our next Shri Ganesh Chaturthi session, what Parvati Mata says further to Lord Shiva. So before we go into our final arti, today's devotion, I forgot to mention that today's devotion is sponsored again by a family that prefers not to be named, but you all know who you are, and we wish Lord Ganesha's special blessings to be upon all of you at home as you are, taking part at home in this devotion with us and gaining the grace and blessings of Lord Ganesh. So before we do Arti, devotees, let us join our voices as we praise Lord Ganesha. All of these teachings that we get, if we don't pray to Lord Ganesh first, we wouldn't be able to put anything in practice. We wouldn't be able to put it into practice. So we offer this prarthana, this prayer unto Lord Ganesh, asking his blessings today. Jai Ganesh, जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां मुदाकरात् मोदकं सदा मुक्तिसाधकं कलाधरावतं सकं विलासिलोकरक्षकम् अनायकैकनायकं विनाशिदैव दैत्यकं तथाशुभाशुनाशकं नमामि तं विनायकम्
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां
न तेतरातिभीकरं न वोरितार्कभास्वरं न मत्सुरारिनिर्जनं न तारिकापदूर्धरं सुरेश्वरं निरीश्वरं गजेश्वरं गणेश्वरं महेश्वरं समाश्रये परात्परं निरन्तरम्
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश
जय गणेश रक्ष मां समस्तलोकशङ्करं निरस्तदैत्यकुञ्जरं तरे धरोधरं वरं वरे भवत्रमक्षरं कृपाकरं क्षमाकरं मुदाकरं यशस्करं मनस्करं नमस्कृतं नमस्करोमि भास्वरम्
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश
जय गणेश रक्ष मां
जय गणेश जय गणेश
जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां
अकिञ्चनातिमर्जनं चिरन्तनोतिभाजनं पुरारिपूर्वनन्दनं सुरारिगर्वचर्वनं प्रपञ्चनाशभीषणं धनञ्जयादिभूषणं कपोलदानवारणं भजे पुराणवारणम्
जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां नितान्त कान्त तन्त कान्तिमन्तकान्तकात्मजम् अचिन्त्यरूपमन्तहीनमन्तराय कीर्तनं हृदन्तरे निरन्तरं वसन्तमेव योगिनं तमेकदं तमेव तं विचिन्तयामि सन्ततं जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश जय गणेश जय गणेश
आदरेण योऽहं प्रजापते प्रभाते हृदय स्मरं गणेश्वरम् अरोघतां रोषतां सुसाहितिं सुपुत्रतां समाहितायुरस्तभूति अभ्युपैति सुचिरात् जय गणेश जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश
जय गणेश रक्ष मां
जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश
रक्ष मां
जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश
रक्ष मां
जय गणेश पाहि मां जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश रक्ष मां जय गणेश रक्ष मां। बोलिए श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय। Devotees, see how Lord Ganesh works. How Lord Ganesh works. All of a sudden he caused my throat to start to scratch. It could be, the accumulation of all the 10 days of Navratri and Hanuman Jayanti and so on. But Lord Ganesha shows us. So he shows us in a split second. You feel you have power? What you can do? What you can do if you feel you have power? In a split second, he can take it away. He can stop the whole process if he wants. Right? So, we should never let that ego creep into our heads. Because there's a simple way to remove it. And if we are blessed by Lord Ganesh, he gives us these reminders. We're blessed by Prabhu, he gives us these reminders to always stay grounded. Don't feel that we are masters. Right? Because he's showing us that in a split second, all the abilities we have can be taken away. So devotees, we will engage in our final arti now. So those who are at home and desirous of performing arti can go to your altar and perform arti there. If not, we all stand in reverence to Lord Ganesh as we take part in our Lord Ganesha arti. Om Sajang Chavarti Sanyuktam Vahaninayojitam Maya Deepam Grihan Devesh Trailokyam Timirapaham जय जय आरती सब मिल गावे स्तुति करे श्री गणपति के जय जय आरती सब मिल गावे
स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की
मंगल आरती सब मिल गावे विघ्न हरण श्री गणपति के
मंगल आरती सब मिल गावे विघ्न हरण श्री गणपति के
जय जय आरती सब मिल गावे स्तुति करे श्री गणपति के
जय जय आरती सब मिल गावे स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की
एक दंत गज बदन विनायक त्रिनयन रूप सिद्ध सुखदायक एक दंत गज
वदन विनायक हृदय रूप सिद्ध सुखदायक
देवत सारे शीश झुकावे देवत सारे शीश झुकावे स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की जय जय आरती सब मिल गावे स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की
जय जय आरती सब मिल गावे स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की
धूप दीप दे फूल की माला मोदक भोग सजायो खाला धूप दीप दे
फूल की माला मोदक भोग सजायो हारा
चरण कमल नैवेद्य चढ़ावे चरण कमल नैवेद्य चढ़ावे
स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की
जय जय आरती सब मिल गावे स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की
जय जय आरती सब मिल गावे स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की
जो पूजे नित गणपति लाया मन वांछित फल उसने पाया जो पूजे नित गणपति लाया
मनवांछित फल उसने पाया
ओम शरण हो बलि बलि जावे ओम शरण हो बलि बलि जावे
स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की
जय जय आरती सब मिल गावे स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की जय जय आरती सब मिल गावे
स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की
स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की स्तुति करे श्री गणपति की बोलिए श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय At this time, devotees, those who have flowers, please take a flower in your hand. We all clasp our hands. We close our eyes. We bow our heads as we engage in our final pratana to end this evening's devotion. We humbly pray and ask grace and blessings of Gajanana Swami, that one who is remover of all obstacles, of all things that prevent us from moving forward towards peace and happiness and contentment. We ask you, Prabhu, to bestow your grace, your blessings, your guidance upon us. Lead us each and every day in the right path, that we can see those improvements as we need in our lives. We can see better days, we can see more productive days, we can see more peaceful days, we can see more happy days. We can see the results of performing the devotions to you, O Prabhu. We humbly pray and ask that you be kind and merciful to all your devotees, all your bhaktas, all who offer devotion to your lotus-like feet. Let us all pray together, devotees. हरि ओम। मंत्रहीनं क्रियाहीनं भक्तिहीनं जनार्दनं यत् पूजितं ममादेव देवी परिपूर्णं तदस्तु मे। ॐ वाहनं न जानामि न जानामि विसर्जनं पूजं चैव न जानामि क्षम्यतां परमेश्वरम्। त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेव त्वमेव बन्धुश्च सखा त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा। ॐ असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। हे सर्वशक्तिमान सच्चिदानंद निराकार निर्विकार सर्वधार सर्वेश्वर सर्वव्यापक अंतर्यामी अजर अमर नित्य पवित्र सृष्टिकर्ता को बारंबार नमस्कार है। हे परमात्मा भविष्य वर्तमान दुखियों का कष्ट हरण करके सुबुद्धि को प्रकाश कर कि जिससे सबका मंगल होए। ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम। गणनाथा गजवरना गणनाथा दीनबंधो गणनाथा
गजवरना गणनाथा दीनबंधो
गणनाथा गजवरना गणनाथा दीनबंधो
गणनाथा गजवरना गणनाथा दीनबंधो
सिद्धिदाता शिवनंदा
सिद्धिदाता शिवनंदा
बोधि प्रदायक गजानना बोधि प्रदायक पार्वती नंदन भव भय भंजन
पार्वती नंदन भव भय भंजन
युग युग बंदन जय श्री गणेशा
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 गणनाथा गजवरना गणनाथा दीनबंधो
गणनाथा गजवरना गणनाथा दीनबंधो
गणनाथा गजवरना गणनाथा दीनबंधो
गणनाथा गजवरना गणनाथा दीनबंधो
गणनाथा दीनबंधो गणनाथा दीनबंधो। बोलिए श्री गजानन स्वामी की जय। सियावर रामचंद्र की जय। उमापति महादेव की जय। पवन सुत हनुमान की जय। वृंदावन कृष्ण चंद्र की जय। ओरेसा जगन्नाथ की जय। बोलो रे भाई सब संतन की जय। सियापति रामचंद्र की जय। बोलिए श्री सत्य सनातन धर्म के जय। जय जय सीताराम। प्रेम से आसन लीजिए. Please have your seats, devotees. So again, it's been another wonderful evening of devotion, and today being Shri Ganesh Chaturthi, is wonderful for us to be able to spend this time together and dedicate ourselves to the feet of Lord Ganesh, asking his choice, his blessings to be upon us. So our next service will be on Sunday, our regular Sunday service from 10 to 12 on Sunday. So please join with us on Sunday as we continue to devote ourselves to the feet of the Lord, and reminding ourselves every day that this is our purpose. This is our purpose. Everything that we do should become a devotion, right? This is a formal way of expressing devotion, but there's many informal ways that we can express devotion to Prabhu, and we should strive to get more and more engaged in our activities, that they become devotion to Prabhu. So devotees, until Sunday morning, please maintain safety, keep well, and keep, it's getting cold back. We thought spring was coming, but yesterday we had snow. So those who are in the cold, stay warm. All right, so until Sunday morning, Jai Jai, Sitaram.